Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. I've been reading a couple articles in regards to how you should, save your money. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't like them. Okay. I think it's rather, obtuse. It doesn't really get to the real problem with most people, and that's not making enough money. And I'm really here to explain to you why. Okay. Many times you got you know, a lot of financial advisors or people telling you that, you need to save more than what you earn. You need to, follow this percent rule. You need to stop going out to Starbucks, yada, yada, this, that, and the third. But the problem is that the savings that they're always telling you to engage in is only done after the fact that you acquire money. The problem for most people, no matter the class, believe it or not, whether you're poor in poverty, rich, or in wealth, is making more money. That's numero uno problem for most people because most people aren't rich. Most people will never be rich, but that's a whole nother discussion for another video I might make in the future. But the problem is that people are not making enough money. So let's say someone needs help saving $5,000, right? Well, the question you need to ask is, do they even have $5,000 to make? Do they even have $5,000 to get? If you look into personal finance, right, into the personal finance space, have you noticed most of that personal finance space is really situated in the United States of America? Have you noticed that? See, financial literacy, which is another, dress up of personal finance, because, you can't keep using that phrase anymore. So people talk about financial literacy, is really dependent upon economic conditions. And no matter what position you are in, you understand economics is going to be more imperative and more important, generally speaking, than you just understanding finance. Saving money is a backdrop until you've acquired the money. If you make $30,000, you can really only save up to $30,000. If you make 100K, you can only save up to 100K, right? You can only use that money to come in and save. That's a fact. So this game where people say, you need a 401k, you need health insurance, you need to get a car, get a car note, or get a mortgage, which both of those latter two things are what? Loans in themselves. Those things are really detriments, ironically, to building your own wealth. But let me go back to the main topic, which is savings, okay? If you really want to save more money, you really need to make a lot more money. You get people who make some ludicrous amount of money and they'll say, well, I saved 90 to 99% of my money and you should do the same thing too. Well, the problem with that statement is the more money that you make, the less you actually need. See, when you're actually poor and in poverty, you actually need to spend every single dime. There is no, you know, savings because you're poor. When you have financial wealth, when you got dividend wealth where you just make more money by the mere ownership of a asset, then what eventually happens is that you got people who would spend most of their time going for those asset owning activities. So let me give you an example, right? Because this really ties into me trying to get people to understand things economically and not just mere financially. You have many people these days that are getting away from the quote unquote trades. And you got this pseudo narrative where people will say, well, People look down on the trades. People talk down on the trades. No one gives respect to the trades anymore. Let me explain something to you. You have a company called OF. I'm not going to say the complete name. That company sponsors women to go onto their website and engage in, let's say, salacious acts and engage in salacious activities. Socially, society looks down on it. You go into the developing world and third world, people look down on it highly. In addition to that, people are really, trying to get away from that. Here's the answer though. After all of that, guess what? That company makes their members money. There was a chick. I wish I knew her name. I want to say her name is Faith. Okay. And I always use this story, right? She was a chick who I want to say lived in Florida. She did OnlyFans. Her parents found out, kicked her out. Within 1 or 2 years, she buys them a house and they're all good. Why is that? Because she's able to get the money. And guess what? She's able to get the money and save that money. Why? Because she was able to acquire it in the first place. See, the fact of the matter is savings only matters insofar that you already have something in the first place or you've already acquired something. You cannot save something that you have not acquired or already have. That Faith chick, she didn't buy that house because she saved. She bought that house because she engaged in material on OF so she could make a living. Okay? I'm not against savings. I believe you should save. I believe you should budget. All right? But I need people to understand that that's easy. Back in the day, anyone could go ahead and get a job right out of high school and, get a house, make a living for themselves, shack up with someone else, have a family, and go about their day. Everyone could do that. Guess what? During that time, if you just had a job, it was money in, money out. These days, you need to go above financial literacy and savings. You actually need to be about economic literacy and doing what? Sales. But here's the deal. And this is why it's easy to promote savings and just do a bunch of savings videos than doing sales videos. It's because savings is highly passive. Why? Because you already got the material. You don't have to work hard getting something that you already have. They're just telling you, hey, you have this material. This is what you got to do. The problem isn't you having the material. The problem is you don't have enough of said material, meaning that you have to be active. You have to be a go-getter. You have to go ahead and get the money. You have to go ahead and get the cash. You have to go ahead and start your own business. That is the problem. So this game that people want to talk about, saying things like, oh, you know what? The problem with people these days is that they spend money on Jordans. They spend money on Stanley Cups, etc. The fact of the matter is, the problem is people aren't generating enough cash. And if you can't do that for them, then there's nothing to talk about. If that's not something you can do, we don't want to deal with you like that. At all. Period. Let's say I'm a person, right? And I'm making $30K a year. How exactly would you explain that person to come in and retire? Because if we're going to be honest with you, retirement is a rather novel concept. See, there was no such thing as retirement back in the day. You were going to be taken care of by somebody at the end of the day. And technically speaking, if we really want to go into it, retirement is still being taken care of by somebody else, but you're not depending on people's labor, depending on people's money. But once again, another title for another video. Those are questions you need to ask. So that's all I got to say. Once again, The main message of this whole video is that savings is only a backdrop to acquisition, sales, and resources you already have. You need to do those things. You need to be active, which is, the sales and acquisition part, and not passive, which is the savings. That's all I gotta say. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye.